Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that you are finally rich. Your debts are gone. Your investments are growing. Your bank account has more money than you've ever seen. And suddenly, people start asking questions. How much do you have? How much do you make? What do you invest in? How did you get rich? Here's the uncomfortable truth. The moment people know you have money, your money can start changing how they see you. And some things about your wealth should remain private. Today, I'm giving you 7 things you should think twice about revealing once you become wealthy. And number 7 could completely change how you handle money and relationships. Before we start, subscribe to EgoMoney and comment the city you're watching from. You might be surprised how many people trying to build wealth are watching from the same city as you. Let's get into it. 1. Never announce exactly how much money you have. Let's start with the most obvious one, your exact net worth. Imagine you've spent 15 years working, saving, investing, and building your assets. Eventually, you reach $1 million. You're excited. Maybe you tell your friends. Maybe you post about it. Maybe you casually mention it at dinner. Yeah, I'm worth about $1.2 million now. It sounds harmless, but you've just given people information they don't need. Because your net worth isn't simply a number. It's information about your financial position. And once people know the number, their perception of you can change. Someone who never asked you for money might suddenly have an emergency. Someone might expect you to pay for the vacation. Someone might assume you can afford anything. Someone might start comparing themselves with you. And some people may simply start treating you differently. That's why wealth doesn't necessarily need an announcement. You don't have to hide your success. But you don't have to publish your balance sheet either. There is a difference between being proud of what you've accomplished and giving everyone access to your financial information. Think about your house. You probably don't walk around telling strangers exactly how much money you have in your bedroom. So why would you casually tell everyone what's sitting in your investment accounts? Your wealth is personal information. Treat it that way. 2. Don't tell everyone how much you make. Now let's talk about income, your salary, your business revenue, your bonuses, your investment income. These numbers can create strange dynamics. Imagine you earn $200,000 a year. Your friend earns $50,000. You go to dinner, the bill arrives. You automatically pay because in your mind, it's not a big deal. But your friend might start thinking, they can afford everything. Then another dinner, then another trip, then another favor. Slowly, your income becomes an expectation. And that's dangerous. Because generosity is wonderful when it is voluntary. It's different when people start feeling entitled to it. You also don't know what someone else might do with information about your income. They could use it to pressure you. They could gossip about it. They could compare themselves to you. They could make assumptions about your lifestyle. And here's something else. Your income is not the same as your wealth. Someone can earn $300,000 and spend $310,000. Someone else can earn $70,000 and quietly build substantial wealth over decades. Income tells people what comes in. It doesn't tell them what stays. It doesn't tell them what you own. It doesn't tell them what you owe. And it doesn't tell them your financial goals. So you don't need to make your paycheck public knowledge. 3. Don't reveal everything you invest in. This one is particularly important. Imagine you have spent years learning about investing. You build a portfolio, you diversify, you make mistakes, you learn. Eventually, your strategy starts working. Then someone asks, "What stocks do you own?" You tell them. Suddenly, they're buying the same investments. Then the market drops. They lose money. And who do they blame? You. Or perhaps you recommend something that performs extremely well. Now everyone wants your next investment idea. Suddenly, you're no longer their friend. You're their financial advisor. And you never agreed to that job. This doesn't mean you should never discuss investing. Financial education is valuable. You can share lessons. You can explain principles. You can talk about mistakes you've made. But there's a difference between saying, "Here's what I learned about diversification," and saying, "Buy this exact investment." Your portfolio is part of your personal financial strategy. It depends on your goals, risk tolerance, timeline, and circumstances. Someone else's portfolio may be completely wrong for you. So instead of becoming the person everyone expects to have the next hot investment, become the person who teaches people how to think about money. That's much more valuable. 4. Don't tell people how much cash you keep. This one sounds strange, but think about it. If someone knows you have a large amount of cash sitting in your bank account, they may start thinking, "You can afford it. A family member needs help. A friend has a business idea. Someone has a financial emergency." And suddenly, you're the obvious person to call. But here's the problem. You might have that cash for a reason. Maybe it's an emergency fund. Maybe you're preparing to buy a property. Maybe you're waiting for an investment opportunity. Maybe it's reserved for taxes. Maybe you simply want financial flexibility. Money that looks available to someone else might already have a job in your financial plan. This is why you should be careful about discussing your liquidity. There's a difference between "I'm financially comfortable" and "I have $200,000 sitting in cash." The first communicates stability. The second gives away information that people don't need. 5. Don't announce your financial moves before they happen. This is one of the most overlooked rules. Let's say you're planning to buy a house. You found the property. You've negotiated the price. You're preparing to close. You tell everyone. Then something changes. The financing falls through. The inspection reveals a major problem. The deal collapses. Now you have to explain to everyone why it didn't happen. Or maybe you're starting a business. You tell everyone about the company. You announce the name. You explain your plans. You tell everyone how successful it's going to be. Then reality happens. The business takes longer than expected. You change direction. You shut it down. None of these things means you failed. But announcing your plans too early can create unnecessary pressure. Sometimes it's better to build quietly and announce when the result is real. There's power in allowing your actions to speak before your announcements do. And this applies beyond money: career moves, business ideas, investment strategies, major purchases, financial goals. You don't owe everyone a preview of your future. Sometimes silence protects your focus. 6. Don't tell people who helped you become wealthy. This one is deeper. Maybe your parents helped you. Maybe a mentor opened a door. Maybe your spouse supported you during difficult years. Maybe someone gave you your first business opportunity. Maybe you inherited money. Maybe you received an early investment from someone. You don't need to explain every detail of your financial journey to the world. And this isn't about being ashamed of help. Quite the opposite. Be grateful. Honor the people who supported you. But there is a difference between gratitude and public disclosure. When you reveal every detail of your financial history, you can unintentionally expose other people's private information too. You may reveal someone's income, someone's gift, someone's inheritance, someone's business involvement, someone's personal circumstances. Your financial story often contains other people's stories. Protect them too. And there's another reason. People sometimes create a false image of success because they want to appear completely self-made. But the truth is that almost nobody succeeds entirely alone. Someone taught you. Someone encouraged you. Someone gave you an opportunity. Someone provided emotional support. Someone took a risk on you. So don't feel the need to create a fake story. But you also don't need to reveal everyone's private contribution. You can simply say, I had people who believed in me, and I'm grateful. That's enough. 7. Don't tell people how much you spend. Now we've reached number 7, and this one can quietly destroy your financial privacy. Imagine people know that you spend $15,000 on vacations, or $30,000 on a car, or $5,000 on a watch, or $3,000 on a handbag. Even if you can comfortably afford it, people may start building expectations around you. They might think, if she can spend $3,000 on that, she can lend me $1,000. Or, if he can afford that car, he can pay for dinner. Your spending becomes a measuring stick, and there's another danger. Once people know how much you spend, they may begin to judge you. Some will think you're wasteful. Others will think you're cheap. Others will think you should spend more. You can't win. That's why one of the smartest things you can do with wealth is develop a lifestyle that makes sense to you, not one designed for spectators. Let me pause here for a second. If you're enjoying this video, subscribe to EgoMoney because we're building a community around something much more important than simply looking rich. We're learning how to think about money differently. And I want to know where that community is growing. So comment the city you're watching from. Tell me your city. Maybe you're watching from Atlanta, New York, Houston, Lagos, Port Harcourt, London, Toronto, or somewhere completely different. Put your city in the comments. This can help more than you think because someone watching from your city may realize they're not alone in trying to build a better financial future. Now let's get into something even more important. Because keeping your wealth private doesn't mean becoming secretive, selfish, or disconnected from people. There's a healthy way to do it. Privacy is not the same as secrecy. Let's make an important distinction. Privacy is healthy. Secrecy can be destructive. If you're married or building a household with someone, hiding financial information from your spouse is not the lesson here. If you have business partners who need financial information, transparency matters. If you're dealing with taxes, lenders, accountants, or legitimate financial professionals, you need to provide accurate information. Privacy means not everyone needs access to your financial life. Secrecy means hiding important financial information from people who have a legitimate right to know. Those are completely different things. You can have financial privacy while still being honest with the people who matter. The wealthier you become, the more valuable your privacy can become. Think about your life before you had money. Maybe you didn't worry about who knew your salary. Maybe your financial decisions didn't attract attention. Maybe nobody cared what you bought. But as your financial position changes, the consequences of information can change too. A person with $500 might not worry about financial privacy. A person with $5 million has more reasons to think carefully about who knows what. Not because everyone is dangerous, not because everyone is jealous, but because information has value. Your financial information can affect how people approach you, how they negotiate with you, how they ask for help, how they treat you, and sometimes how they perceive you. That's why wealth often requires something people don't talk about: boundaries. Don't let wealth change your relationships. Here's another trap. You become wealthy, and suddenly you start looking at everyone differently. You stop trusting people. You assume everyone wants something. You become paranoid. That's not healthy either. Money shouldn't make you suspicious of everyone. Instead, it should make you more thoughtful about boundaries. You can still love your family. You can still help your friends. You can still be generous. You can still enjoy experiences with people. But generosity should be a choice, not an obligation. You should be able to say, "I can't do that," without feeling guilty. And you should be able to say, "Yes, I'd love to help," without feeling used. That's financial freedom, too. What should you say instead? So what do you say when someone asks, "How much money do you have?" You don't have to lie. You can simply say, "I'm doing well, but I prefer to keep my finances private." Someone asks, "How much do you make?" You could say, "Enough to support the goals I'm working toward." Someone asks, "What stocks do you own?" You can say, "I have a diversified strategy that works for my situation." Someone asks, "How much did that house cost?" You can simply say, "It was a decision that made sense for me." You don't need an elaborate explanation. You don't need to apologize. And you don't need to feel guilty. Privacy is a boundary, not an insult. Wealth should give you freedom, not performance pressure. One of the greatest ironies of becoming wealthy is that you can become trapped trying to prove you're wealthy. You buy the expensive car. Then you need to maintain it. You buy the giant house. Then you need to maintain the house. You upgrade everything. Then everyone expects you to keep upgrading. Suddenly you're working to maintain an image. That's the opposite of financial freedom. True wealth should create choices. Maybe you want the luxury car. Great. Buy it if it genuinely fits your financial plan. But don't buy it because you're afraid someone will think you're unsuccessful. Maybe you prefer a modest car and a large investment portfolio. That's fine too. You don't need strangers to understand your financial strategy. The quiet wealth principle. There's something powerful about becoming financially successful without constantly announcing it. You don't have to post every investment. You don't have to show every purchase. You don't have to announce every milestone. You don't have to prove your net worth. You can simply live, build, invest, save, give, enjoy, repeat, and let your financial life work quietly in the background. Because ultimately, the goal of wealth isn't to convince people you're rich. The goal is to have enough resources and financial control to live according to your values. That's a completely different game. What to do instead? So if you shouldn't tell everyone everything about your money, what should you talk about? Talk about principles. Talk about lessons. Talk about mistakes. Talk about financial education. Talk about building an emergency fund. Talk about getting out of debt. Talk about investing responsibly. Talk about increasing income. Talk about avoiding lifestyle inflation. Talk about financial independence. Teach people how to think, not necessarily what is sitting in your bank account, because your bank balance may inspire someone for 5 minutes. But a good financial principle can change someone's life for decades. The real goal. Let's bring everything together. If you become wealthy, you don't need to become invisible. You don't need to stop helping people. You don't need to pretend you're poor. And you definitely don't need to be ashamed of your success. But you should understand something. Not everyone needs to know everything about your money, your exact net worth, private, your income, private, your portfolio, be careful, your cash reserves, private, your future financial moves. Think before announcing them. The people who helped you, protect their privacy. Your spending, you don't owe everyone an explanation. And your relationships, protect them with healthy boundaries. If you remember only one thing from this entire video, remember this. You don't become wealthy just by having more money. You become wealthy by gaining more control over your money, your time, and your choices. And sometimes that control includes knowing when to speak and when to stay quiet. You don't have to prove your success. You don't have to announce every financial milestone. You don't have to show everyone what you have. Let your investments grow quietly. Let your savings grow quietly. Let your financial discipline grow quietly. And most importantly, let your wealth create a better life instead of creating a performance you have to maintain. Before you leave, I want you to do 2 things. First, comment the city you're watching from. Tell me where you're building your financial future from. And if this video made you think differently about money, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Second, subscribe to EgoMoney, because on this channel, we're not trying to teach you how to look wealthy. We're learning how to build wealth, protect it, grow it, and use it wisely. And remember, you don't have to tell everyone what you have. Sometimes the smartest thing a wealthy person can say is nothing. This is EgoMoney. Build quietly, grow wisely, live freely.